Hello everyone, it's me, Dr. Whimsy. Thanks for tuning in. So today I'm going to give a remote viewing. I haven't done a traditional remote viewing video in a while, and last night I had a very long remote viewing. It went on for quite a while, so I took copious notes, and it had several different phases to it, so I'm going to just try and organize things as best I can, and we'll see how we do. So the first part of the meditation happened when I was doing the third stage. For people who are learning heart-centered remote viewing, we spend some time meditating on love or images that represent enlightenment. And so last night's meditation began with a meditation of green Tara. That was the vehicle I used for this meditation. And that's just an opportunity to connect with your higher self, your higher wisdom. If this does not speak to you, if it doesn't resonate for you, you don't have to take it in. But the first message is the meditation I received during my Green Tara meditation, and so I wanted to share that first. So when I was closing my eyes last night and beginning my remote viewing meditation, I held an image of Tara dancing. The green Tara, which is the feminine attributes of, or the gentle attributes of the Buddha, the enlightened one. And this is basically the message I received, that we as human beings must learn that the gentler ways, what we call the feminine ways of love, are far more powerful than the aggressive, or what we have called masculine forces that we are familiar with. So what's happening in the world right now is that there are basically two forces. There's the gentle feminine force, which is based on kindness, caring about the welfare of others, that has been called feminine. But in this meditation, I was told don't call it feminine because there's nothing inherently feminine or masculine about these traits. And that's kind of a distortion of how to understand these energies. So Tara is the symbol of divine compassion, love, mothering, nurturing energy. And the point of the meditation last night was to understand that this force, this gentle force, is the most powerful force that human beings have, and that the angry, manipulative, aggressive force is fear-driven and not nearly as strong as the gentle force. Fear, anger, and violence is not inherently masculine, and love, gentleness, and kindness is not inherently feminine. But love, gentleness, and kindness is far more powerful, and it tends to attract and bend the will of others, in the sense that people are drawn to love and compassion and warmth, and they're repelled by fear. Then in the next part of the meditation, with Tara, this idea came to me of the distortion of the mother relationship. And because the mother expresses this traditionally, and because we don't respect this gentle nature, we have distorted our relationships with the mother, don't respect the mother, don't honor the mother, and consequently a huge impact of woman's worth. We also don't respect a woman's worth. But this is the time when love and gentleness and women must lead, and that the future of the planet has to be based on gently leading the planet forward, not through anger and aggression, but through love and compassion. And that this was ultimately the spiritual lesson of this presidency. That if we continue to focus on this presidency from a place of fear and anger, it will only strengthen fear and anger and ultimately the power of this administration. The next part of the meditation had to do with Mitch McConnell and Mitch McConnell's relationship with the president. And in this meditation, I saw that Mitch McConnell had made some kind of a deal with the president. And in exchange for immunity or being acquitted, there were certain things that President Trump was going to have to give Mitch McConnell. And it appears that Mitch McConnell is going to be stabbed in the back, that he is going to be betrayed by this president, and it is going to go very, very badly for Mitch McConnell. Not just Mitch McConnell, but other people that agreed to this backdoor deal of being acquitted by this president. The third part of this meditation had to do with the military. And specifically, the military wanted to speak to me about what it is to be a warrior. And I thought this was an interesting meditation because of what had happened to Lieutenant Colonel Vindman. When Lieutenant Colonel Vindman was escorted off the premises of the White House with his brother, there are huge ramifications for this as far as the military is concerned. And the reason that there are huge ramifications for this is because Vindman was personally known by people that were very, very powerful, are very powerful in the military, generals, etc. And he's received the Purple Heart. He was well respected by his peers and by his elders. And the president's behavior has come across as petty. And this has caused outrage within the military. The other thing that caused the military to begin to turn against this president was the bombing that killed Soleimani. And when the president decided that he wanted to assassinate Soleimani, the impression that the military got was that he was doing it in order to boost his ratings. And so this infuriated some members of the military because they felt like they were putting the nation and their soldiers at risk simply in order to create a show that was going to make the president more popular. The other thing that infuriated the military was when the president trivialized and minimized the number of wounded after the bombing by Iran, where he basically said all was well, but 50 people, soldiers, were wounded with traumatic brain injuries, and that also really infuriated the military. When you go into the energy of the military right now, they're very angry, they're very disgusted with this president, but what happened with Lieutenant Vindman for them was the end. It felt like it was the last straw. It felt like it was the fourth wave. I know that Cash Peters had done a remote where he had seen four waves, and that the fourth wave would take the president out. I believe the fourth wave is this vindictive, angry behavior by Donald Trump, where he needs to attack to the point of coming across as vindictive and hurting people that are well respected inside the military. Meditating on the military, the final phase of this meditation was about the sacred warrior. And the sacred warrior is something that is expressed a lot in what is the Sikh religion. The Sikh are a warrior class, and what was interesting about this meditation was that I was listening to Kundalini yoga music, which comes from the Sikh and really putting myself in the shoes of what it means to be a sacred warrior in the Sikh tradition. And you come in peace and you want peace, but there's this willingness to die for your family, for your country, for your people, that the sacredness of what it is to be a warrior, not to be a violent, aggressive person, but to be someone that is willing to lay down your life in order to protect your family and your loved ones. That a spiritual warrior does not want war. They first seek peace. But if somebody comes to harm you and your tribe, then the sacred warrior risks his own life in order to protect his wife and family, or partner, family, etc. And that was the traditional role of the sacred warrior, whether it was a man or a woman. So what was interesting in the meditations is it kind of moved away from gender bias, like, oh, that's toxic masculinity and femininity is good. In this meditation, it was saying, no, different people have different purposes in order to express enlightenment, and the function of the sacred warrior was to protect the tribe and the community, and a willingness to selflessly give one's life in order to keep one's family and community alive and safe in times which were threatening. The final aspect of the meditation had to do with the Trump supporters that are in rural areas, that don't have jobs, that feel that they've been abandoned, that feel that the media and the quote-unquote liberals, this is from their perspective, don't care about them, judge them, call them deplorables, that there's a lot of resources that have gone to the urban areas. People are concerned about poverty in urban areas, and they're concerned about the migrant farm workers, but they're not concerned about people, Americans in rural areas that don't have cars, don't have infrastructure, don't have work. And one of the people that I connected with, or one of the energies I connected with in one of these rural areas, said that when Trump came into the rural area where he was at, it was like the circus had come to town, he said. And he said that they don't take politicians seriously at all, that's not something that people in rural areas don't believe that politicians care at all about them. It was just like the circus came to town. He's very skeptical. He said he was very skeptical of politicians, but they threw their hat in with Trump, but most are not as gung-ho as people would think. It was more that the circus came to town, and what the hell, nothing changes in these rural areas. And he said that the migrant workers are driving the wages down for picking things, and that in rural areas, people are picking. They're picking berries for the farmers, etc. And he said that the wages for picking for the poorest of the poor are down because they can get cheaper prices by hiring illegals, and that in these rural areas where the only work is seasonal work and many people don't even have stable work, it really did feel that way to them, that they couldn't get work, and that they were the poorest of the poor, and there was no infrastructure, no cars, etc. And the only work that they had was like the grapes of wrath, working in the fields, and that those wages were depressed because there were too many migrants. So that's why it resonated for the people. And I asked if there was anything that the Democrats could do to win over the votes of the people in these rural areas that feel that people in the cities, the wealthy, etc., don't care about them. And the response from this particular person was that the Democrats should act like they care about us. You know, that if you want to see a change, if you want to see the deplorables voting for a Democrat, then you're going to have to change your tactics and act like you give up about us. That was actually what I heard. So that minds will not be changed if we just attack people who voted for Trump or depict them as ignorant and poor. The way to change things and get people to vote for our candidate will be to go out into rural areas, see the excessive poverty, and actually care about the people that are struggling there. All right, so that was the remote. The main takeaway I got from the remote is that there is a growing subconscious. Whether or not people are acting on it right away, I can't say, but a growing subconscious feeling of disgust in this president, particularly in the military, and seeing how Col Vindman was treated for them, and the fact that he trashed Vindman on Twitter, that was the last straw for many people in the military. And that is something we may see expressed in the coming days. All right, thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time.